Let's get into the predicted lineup. Ange has done his press conference today in terms of the team news. What injuries have we got?
So very positive news about James Maddison. He is back and available. And in fact, Postecoglou said he's actually ready to start. So that's incredible news. He also said Ben Davies and Dane Scarlett are back in training as well. So that's really positive news. And Kulusevski obviously was ruled out of the game against Man United due to illness, but he's now been training with the squad again and he is available for selection. The only long-term absentees still out. Obviously, Solomon is still out. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. Lo Celso remains unavailable. Valise. Sessegnon continues his rehab, he said, but hopefully he should be back available for selection next week for Ryan Sessegnon. So I think overall, very, very positive news. And when you're looking at the injury front, only really in terms of players who we expect to start, only really Sombasuma and Sarr not from the injuries, but they're away. Only really Solomon, Lo Celso, and Valise that we're really waiting on at the moment to come back.
I do think Solomon's going to be back fairly soon. So I think the only real long-term one is Valise, isn't it?
Valise, yeah.
Because Ben Davies is back in training.
Yeah.
Lo Celso is supposed to be back for the Brentford game. Solomon, I think, was supposed to be back similar time as James Maddison.
Yeah.
So the only real long term, and like you said, Ryan Sessegnon as well should be back with the team next week or something. So the only real long term one is who did I say it was? Valise, that's it. Yeah.
We finally have options.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like for so long, like we haven't had options to choose from in each position. Now it's like actually a bit hard to predict this predicted lineup.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. 4-3-3 formation. No, we're not going 3 at the back. We are sticking with the 4-3-3. And in goal, someone who is going to be so vital in this game, and that is Vicario.
Yeah, and hopefully he's going to be at his sweeping best because we all know that Spurs do like to play the high line. Man City will like to catch us out, just like we're going to look to catch them out. And Vicario has proven to be a brilliant sweeper keeper so far this season, and that's going to be very crucial. And as well, obviously, he makes big saves at crucial times, doesn't he? And I think in this game, if we're going to keep Man City at bay, Vicario is going to have a great game.
Yeah, completely agree. He's had such a good season, hasn't he, Vicario? So let's just hope he carries on in that rich vein of form. At right back is obviously going to be Pedro Porro, who also has just had such a stellar season this year, inverting into that midfield, providing us with so much creativity and threat going the other way. I just hope he keeps up the good defensive work that he's been doing. He did get caught a few times out of position against Man United.
Yeah, if Doku is starting, I do worry slightly. I remember against the game of the Etihad, especially in the opening exchanges of that game, Doku was getting a lot of joy before Porro was able to grow into the game. So obviously Doku being the master dribbler that he is a bit of a worry, but I think Porro, hopefully, with his passing range and his ability to get forward, will make them do a lot of the thinking rather the other way around. And he's been subject to a lot of talk about links to Man City, hasn't he? So let's hopefully he shows what Man City are missing.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that, and someone quote tweeted it about Man City's interest in Porro, saying, I think it was a fake quote from Porro, and he goes, yeah, they can buy me on FIFA.
Brilliant.
But that is a bit of a theme, though, this season, isn't it? When we played the big teams, when you looked at the Man City game, you look at the Arsenal game, you look at the Liverpool game this season, one of either Porro or Udogie have come under a very increasing pressure and looked to be like a bit of out of sorts in the early stages of the game, and both of them have just completely grown in. Like I remember Salah and Saka both giving Udogie big problems in the early stages, and then by the end of the game, he was probably one of the best players on the pitch, and it was the same with Porro at the Etihad.
I think as a consequence of Spurs, when they start games, I think teams know where to hurt us, and that's obviously in the wide areas. That's where we leave a lot of our space. But once we go into the games and then we start to restrict the opposition from getting a foothold in the game, and we start to control it, all of a sudden it gets a lot harder for the opposition to get the supply to those wingers as regularly as they were maybe right at the start. So all of a sudden those wingers become a lot quieter, and I think that's because of our tactics.
Yeah. Moving on into the centre-back positions, on the right-hand side, obviously going to be Cuti Romero, who's probably going to have the captain's armband, or will it be James Maddison?
I believe Romero is number 2 in line, so I think it'll be him.
So he'll have the captain's armband as he did at Old Trafford. I think he had a good display at Old Trafford, a really good display, but there were a few kind of defensive lapses as well. So he needs to wipe that out of his game if we're going to keep them out at the other end.
Yeah, definitely. But I thought obviously his on-the-ball ability is so crucial in this game if we're going to be playing through what is one of the most aggressive pressing teams that you're ever likely to see in Man City. So we saw that one pass against Man United at Old Trafford, which completely split them open, and he's going to have to do more of that. I kind of expect maybe not him not to be able to find the spaces that he was able to find against Man United, but he's going to be crucial. I think the most crucial thing he's going to have to do in this game is that kind of proactive defensive nature where he kind of tackles and gets us on attack in the same movement. And if he can do that, he kind of manufactures a transition. I think those are so important in this kind of game, because if he can step in, win the ball, and then hit them very quickly, then they're going to have all that space in behind to hit.
Yeah. Alongside him, a return to the lineup at home for Mickey van de Ven, and I cannot wait to see this beautiful, beautiful man in front of my very eyes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The last time I saw him at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, he was limping off against Chelsea. So yes, he did play against Man United, but I wasn't at the game. So I'm very excited to see Mickey van de Ven, and his recovery pace is going to be so important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's obviously not going to have Haaland to contend with in this game, where I'm pretty sure Haaland running in behind you is really going to be testing those hamstrings. I'm sure Alvarez will be a test in itself, but maybe not as much as Haaland, especially physically. The interesting thing is Romero and Van de Ven, Haaland, like having him or not having him gives its benefits and also weaknesses, because if you have Haaland there, he's obviously going to pin you back and he's going to be running in behind. He's going to be very strong, but you know where he is. You know what you have to do against him. When you have someone like Alvarez in a false nine, it becomes very difficult because he comes deeper into the midfield. He picks up the ball in awkward areas, and then you have to make a decision. Do you go with him? Do you not go with him? Do you leave that space? Do you not leave that space? So that, in a weird way, I can understand the pros and cons of facing Haaland, Man City with or without Haaland. But Van de Ven, he had a very good comeback against Man United, and I'm sure Man City are going to try and hit us over the top, and Van de Ven's going to be sweeping it all, and he's going to have a very, very crucial game in this one.
And then to finish off the back line on the left-hand side is going to be Destiny Udogie, another one who's just had such a stellar season and who's going to be vitally important for us in this game. But like I said before, he has come under pressure early in big games this season, Liverpool, Arsenal. I just hope that both him and Porro can just kind of stand up from the beginning and not come under too much pressure. Or look, pressure's expected, but not to bow down to that pressure.
Yeah, most likely he'll be up against Phil Foden, I'm guessing, on the left-hand side. And we know how good Foden is. He's such a tricky customer. He's got such a low central gravity. He offers a different kind of threat than Salah or Saka do against us when we played them. Like, he likes close control. You think you have him, and then he just has a little sprint when he's close to you and he's away. And Udogie's going to have to be very, very careful in this game when facing him. So I do worry a bit about that, but I think with his strength, his physicality, he should be able to physically dominate him. That's what I hope for. But I think Foden's such a smart player. He's just got to be very careful. He doesn't end up fouling him or get too close to him.
I do kind of get the feeling that Udogie's kind of like a certainty for a booking in this game. Mm-hmm. Literally a certainty. Foden probably draws the most fouls out of anyone in the Premier League, and Udogie gives away his fair share of fouls. So I'll probably say Udogie's nailed on for a booking in this game. In terms of the midfield, this is where it gets interesting. In the number 6, we're going to go for Rodrigo Bentancur.
Yeah, obviously he played in the number 8 position last time at Old Trafford, and he had a pretty good game. Obviously got a score sheet, was looking back at his best as well on the ball. So that was a really good platform to him to build on going into this game at Man City, where he's honestly going to have his work out for him. He's going to have to be as sharp as possible on the ball to make sure he's dribbling past their press, but off the ball as well. He's going to have a lot of running to do. He's going to have De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva, all players who love being in the half spaces to contend with. And he's going to need support as well from his fellow midfielders and defenders. But We know Bentancur against Man City. I've seen him have be man of the match a few times against them already, like in his career at Tottenham. He knows how to play against this team. The only question mark was, would he be in the 6? Or do we bring in a Højbjerg or a Skip and put him there and continue Bentancur in the 8? But we're predicting that Bentancur will drop back, and I think he's the best option for his game in that position.
Yeah, he's so silky on the ball. I just love watching him play. He's such a good footballer, Rodrigo Bentancur. But let's move on. Higher up in the pitch in the midfield on the right-hand side, we're going to go for Dejan Kulusevski, another player who knows how to play against Man City. And I feel like as well, like having these two guys so close on the pitch, they work so well together, Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulusevski. I think that could be a massive plus for us as well.
Yeah, but Dejan, if he is going to play this role, is going to have a very difficult job on his hands, because we know Dejan, he works very, very hard for the team. We know that. But what he loves to do is get on the ball, drive at the opposition, ask questions of the opposition, be far up the pitch. But if he is going to play that number 8 box-to-box role, he's going to have to make sure that his first priority is helping out Bentancur and making sure he doesn't get overrun and being as aggressive as possible. I know he's got the physicality to do it. I've seen him put in challenges and have games where he's putting in tackles and interceptions as well. But Man City's a different kettle of fish, so we've got to make sure if he's playing that role, he's a bit more disciplined than maybe playing in that free number 10 role where he's got a license to roam here and there. In this position, he has to be a lot more disciplined. So whether he's up to that, it's a big question mark. But we're basing this on, in the first half against City at the Etihad, he did go Kulusevski and next to Gio for a reason. I know he changed it at half-time, but we're thinking with changes in other places, that should help facilitate Kulusevski being able to play that role a lot better. So we're going to stick with him there. Yeah.
And then to make up that middle 3 is the big return for our number 10, which is James Maddison. And as much as I've said how excited I am for each and every individual player, apart from this guy is the guy I am most gassed to see on the football pitch tomorrow. What a player, best player in the Premier League after the first 10 games. And if he can bring just 60% of what he showed in the first 10 games of the season, it's still head and shoulders, above a lot of players in this league. And he is going to be so important tomorrow night. And to see a midfield 3 of Bentancur, Kulusevski and Maddison, it is like sitting here now, it is great to see and it is a bit sexy. But are we asking for a bit of trouble?
Maybe. That's the problem. I know Ange is brave, and he did it at Etihad, but he did change it at half-time. Yeah. So there's 2 ways of looking at that. He was brave enough to do it and shows maybe that was in his mind, that he wants to get on the ball and be offensive, but he also changed it when he realised it wasn't working. But was it not working because he had Davis and Emerson and Brian Hill there as well, so he needed that extra support? Or was it not working because they were getting overrun in midfield because there wasn't enough cover there? So I'm not 100% sure.
Probably a bit of everything though, but with James Maddison as well, like he does such great work off the ball as well. So the first 10 games of the season, he was up there in the stats for like one of the best off the ball. So I don't worry about that. I do worry about it, but not as much as maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he does it, I think it's because he's confident that the midfield players will do their defensive duties and be disciplined enough to be in there and help out Bentancur. But don't get me wrong. If he sees at half time they're not doing it and they're not helping out Bentancur enough, he'll have to change it and he'll have to get Højbjerg on. I do wonder as well how long Maddison will play for. Will it be 90 minutes? Will it be like Bentancur, where I think his first return got 60 minutes or so, yeah, and then kind of ease him back in. Depends how ready Maddison is, how match fit he is as well. But I don't think he says. I mean, maybe it is mind games from Ange, because usually when he says someone's not ready, they end up starting. And maybe now he's saying he's ready to start, and maybe
he probably won't even be on the bench.
Yeah, maybe it's mind games. It could definitely be mind games, but I just feel like Ange knows what a lift it's going to be to have him back in the team, even if it's just for 60 minutes. What an effect he can have on our attacking play as well. And if we're looking to catch Man City out and play those passes in behind, those through balls to pacey strikers, we're going to need his guile and his accuracy, and that's what he brings to the team, and it's going to be so crucial in this game. So we're thinking, obviously he's one of the vice captains as well, so we're thinking Maddison is going to go straight back in.
Yeah, and it's great to have 2 of the leadership team as well back in the team, which we haven't seen in ages. Romero's been in and out of the team for a while. Maddison we haven't seen for 3 months. Sonny obviously is away with Asia. So I think it's so important to have these leaders on the pitch, especially in a game like this. So that midfield, is looking incredible, to be honest, from an attacking point of view anyway. Right-hand side of the attack is going to be Brennan Johnson. He's come under a lot of criticism recently, and rightly so, but I believe in his abilities, and I think that, especially in a game like this, is a game that he can thrive in.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I remember at the Etihad, he had a fairly decent game. We got an assist for the Kulusevski equaliser. Gave Gvardiol a bit of a tough ride on a couple of occasions. What I want to see more from Johnson is I feel like he likes the ball to feet a bit too much. I feel like he always comes short and then one likes to go on the outside and beat a man, which is fine, and he can do that. But I want to see him get in behind a bit more. I want to see him go run on the last shoulder of the defender, and we've got the players to pick him out now on the pitch. You got Maddison, you got Porro there, you got Kulusevski there. If he makes those runs, he will be found. Maybe it's a case of he has been making those runs, but we don't have the players to find him in the last few weeks. But now we have those players. So I want to see him, especially in a game against Man City. I've seen where Gvardiol has his average position, almost, in the midfield on the left-hand side. He leaves all that space open on the wide area. So I need Johnson to attack that space and be as effective as possible. And if that happens, then we got a good chance of really exploiting Man City.
Yeah, up front, the man in form, the pigeon, Richarlison, scored so many goals of late since his injury, or since he's come back from his surgery. He's just looked like a different man, to be honest. He seems to be able to put the ball in the back of the net, which we're definitely going to need in this game.
Yeah, the thing with Richarlison, I think obviously from set pieces, he's going to be a massive threat. When in open play, I want to see him do what he did against Man United, which is hold the ball up, win us corners, win us free kicks, be a nuisance. I don't see him being a massive threat when it comes to, Maddison picking up the ball and seeing Richarlison running behind. I don't see him getting much joy trying to beat the offside trap with a Kanji or not Kanji, but whoever's fit, Ake or Diaz and Walker as well, chasing
Gvardiol,
back.
Yeah.
Gvardiol. They're very pacey defenders, so you're gonna have to have a lot of pace to beat them. I don't think Richarlison has that. But what he does do, what he's shown against Man United, which I hope he shows in this game, is if you get the ball to his chest, you get it to his feet, he can hold it up for you, he can win free kicks, he can buy time, he can get us up the pitch, and then maybe he can lay it off for a Johnson or a Werner to get on goal. So that's what's very important. And then from set pieces, maybe he can show his worth from goal scoring position. So I'm not expecting too much from Richarlison in terms of being a massive goal threat from open play, but he's still got a very important role to play in this game.
Yeah, it's not just that as well, but it's positional play in terms of being in the right place at the right time. When your wingers are attacking the space, be there for the cutbacks. Always be hovering around that kind of six yard box or around that area, and be clinical when it comes to you. That's what we need from you, Richarlison. And to make up that final 11 on the left-hand side is going to be Turbo Timo.
Yeah, and for me, he's going to be our most important attacker in this game, because he's the one where, if I'm looking at the front three, whose biggest strength is running in behind and exploiting the space, and Werner's biggest strength is that. So he knows that he has a big job to do, making sure he finds a space where it's being vacated, make sure he stay on side and exploit that space with his blistering pace that he's done so often. And I've seen him do it against Man City specifically as well. Without Sonny as well being available, his pace in behind to make up for that is going to be absolutely crucial. So I think if we're going to win this game, I think Werner's going to have a big part to play, even if it's just tactical, even if he's not getting goals and assists, just him being a nuisance, continually getting into that space in behind, being found as well, but more being found in behind, or just him making those runs could force the Man City defenders to look at him and concentrate on him and leave space for others. So for me, Werner is super, super important in this game.
Is Werner on the dance floor this weekend? He's going to get his first goal in a Spurs shirt, I'm sure of it. But let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Romero and Van de Ven in the centre-back positions, Bentancur, Kulusevski and Maddison in the middle three, with Werner on the left, Johnson on the right, Richarlison up top. We've given our predictions in the match preview. Sim has gone, 4-2 to Spurs in a romping FA Cup tie at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I've gone for 3-2, a bit of a nail biter, but I can definitely see many chances at either end. And look, it's going to be an occasion, win, lose or draw tomorrow, because it's going to be a great game of football, and it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, and I am buzzing to get down to Tottenham tomorrow. But that is your predicted lineup. That is your match preview.